My name is Courtney Sanders, founder of thinkandgrowchick.com, which is a, I guess, large women's empowerment business. I do everything from business coaching to inspiring women to get their finances in order, and then, of course, just personal development. So, yeah, I'm just really excited about just what I've been able to accomplish working with Julian in such a short amount of time. As I'm recording this, it's barely been over 30 days. I don't even think it's been 30 days, or we're coming up, yeah, it hasn't. We're coming up on 30 days. So it's just been crazy how things have been different. So some background, I quit my job almost a year ago. I've been growing my business on the side, and I was like doing well from the standpoint that my brand was really growing, and I was doing a lot of like hustling to sell different products and get people into what I was doing. And I was having 4-figure months and everything, and it was great. And so I took the leap and I quit my job, and that was super exciting. But then I fell into something that I think is a little bit of a secret in this industry that nobody talks about. And that's what I call the one-on-one coaching hamster wheel. So I'm assuming if you're watching this, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. On the outside, one-on-one coaching is lauded as like the panacea for all your business problems, and you will make so much money doing it. And it's true. I did that. I quit I quit my job, and I went full-time into my business, and I took on a bunch of one-on-one coaching clients. And at first I was super excited about that because, oh my goodness, how awesome is it that people want to pay you, especially large sums of money, in order to do this work that you're so passionate about. But I call it the little known industry secret that nobody talks about, is that it is very time consuming. It requires a lot of energy, to pour into that many people one-on-one, and it constrains you. So let's be real. All of us want this, laptop lifestyle, going different places and doing different things. But it's very difficult to have that lifestyle if you are chained to your laptop, on the phone or Skype, 10 hours a day working with so many people. And to be frank, you don't really make that big of an impact. And so right away, within the first 2 months of me leaving my job, going full-time in my business, and taking on so many one-on-one clients, I was like, oh no, this is not going to work. Like, not only did I feel really, really constrained, but I felt like I wasn't doing what I was actually called to do. I enjoyed serving the women one-on-one, but I always knew from the beginning that I wanted my brand to have a larger impact. I wanted it to reach people all over the world, and I wanted to touch a lot of lives simultaneously. And with me just focusing on the 10 or so women, and that was like the max that I could do. I think at one point I did 15, and I was like pulling my hair out, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but again, when you're giving and you're pouring into people, it takes up a lot of your time. And so to be constrained to only work with 15 people, I mean, I was finding it difficult to even keep up with like my social media and just like other aspects of my business, because I was just like really weighed down with all the one-on-one work. And on top of that, you do the one-on-one work, and then their engagement wraps up after your 3-month or 6-month engagement, and then you have to hustle to get more one-on-one clients, and then it just becomes this really vicious cycle. So right within the first few months of being full-time in my business, I was like, okay, we got to figure something else out. We have to do a more leveraged model where I could, reach more people, still maintain the level of impact that I wanted to make and the income that I wanted to make, but do it in a way that really worked best for me. So I started getting into group programs. I noticed that a lot of the big name coaches, so Tony Robbins or some of these other big people, they're not out there really doing one-on-one work unless it's, very limited, but they're spreading their message through almost like mastermind models where people can join in into a large group, still get the direct impact and the direct input from you, but you're just able to work with many people. Usually it's more affordable for the people who are coming into your program, and it's more leverage for you, so you have the time and space to do the other things that you want to do in your business and in your life. So I'm a big believer in modeling others who are successful, and so when I saw that, I started researching like crazy, like, okay, how do I adopt this business model into my business? And that's when I stumbled on Julian. So I can't remember. How did I? Oh, okay. So I was in a coaches group. Many of you know Tanya Rackley. Hey, girl. She's awesome and fabulous with My Fab Finances. And she invited me into a coaching, private coaches Facebook group where we could all connect. And Julian was in there, and I remembered him. So side note, rewind back to 2011, right when I was really determined to get to turn my blog at the time into a business and to grow it online. I stumbled on Julian's, it was was a video of a talk that he did at Blogging Ralph Brown, all about the kind of business models that online entrepreneurs and bloggers needed if they wanted to have successful, six-figure income. And so I remember watching that a long time ago, and it really shifted my paradigm. And, just that one free video, and I had never interacted with Julian, gave me a lot of what I needed just to kind of launch and shift some things and Think and Grow Chick, even to get me to the point of going full time. So when I was in the coaches group and I saw that Julian was in there too, I was like, oh yeah, that's that dude that inspired me, all those years ago. Let me see what he's talking about. And so I'm like, y'all internet stalk. I mean, come on, we all do it. So I started internet stalking Julian to see what he was up to lately. And he was talking about masterminds. And isn't it so funny that, like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? So this is the mindset that I was in. I started stalking his website, and he's like, oh, I'm helping people build masterminds. And I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I need. So I signed up for the webinar. I can't remember what happened. I don't think I watched it. Y'all know how it is. You sign up for all these free webinars, and then you forget about them, and stuff happens. But he actually reached back out to me, which was like no one had ever done that before. I was really shocked. So he reached out to me. He saw that I'd signed up for his webinar. He sent me an email, and he was like, hey, I like what you're doing with your brand. You're clearly interested in masterminds. Like, how can I be of service? Which is like, seriously? Like, how many people do that? So we hopped on a Skype call for free. And he gave me a lot of really great insight and advice, and just told me about his system and how this thing works. And I was like, dude, where do I sign up? Like, we totally need to do this. So I flew to New York, worked with Julian and his team. They had everything laid out for me, not just technically, but they had snacks too, which is always, a bonus. But they had all of the tech laid out. They had all of the templates laid out. They had, literally, this was like a well-oiled machine. You could tell that they, had refined this process. And he was like, look, we're just going to put what you do, your work, we're going to put it into this launch process. The entire launch is only going to be 2 weeks from start to finish, and the actual webinar sequence is only going to be 3 days. And I was like, okay, this is getting a little too good to be true. Like, being in New York is fun, and thank you guys, for the snacks. But is this really going to work? So, I pressed Julian while we were in New York, because I am passionate about my business. My business is my baby. I don't want to do anything that's not going to work, or anything that's like a gimmick or whatever. So I was kind of side-eyeing, like, okay, I'm here and I'm going to do it your way. But in the back of my mind, I was already like, all right, when I get home, after we do this thing and it's just like, so I'm going to have to like clean this up and figure this thing out. But Julian's process was just really amazing. And again, you got to trust people who knows what they're doing. Because another thing, so rewind a little bit, before I even started working with Julian, after I signed up for his webinar, there was a few months in between where I was just gung-ho. I was like, I'm just going to do this mastermind myself, because I was in such a place where I just needed to get out of this one-on-one coaching model, and I couldn't figure out anything else to do. So part from the inspiration from his webinar, I just started the mastermind on my own before I even worked with him. And it had done well, because, I have worked hard to build a really good following. I have a great community of women. And so I did get women who have been riding with me since the beginning, and they joined. I was doing it all wrong. I had like multiple levels at different price points. The prices were like too low. At the time, I thought that they were like high, and I was like biting my nails like, oh my goodness, is anybody even going to pay this? And that's why I had 3 levels, because I was like, let me make it easier for people. But I found myself slipping into that same hamster wheel that I was on with one-on-one coaching, because now I had all these different levels. I had to create so much content just to maintain all the levels and to keep everybody happy. So I was really burned out. And so when I had worked with Julian, or we decided to team up to do this, I was really excited by his process, because he was like, you only have one level. It's going to be double the price that you're charging before. And I'm like, are you serious? How is that really going to work? But again, many of us, we are successful entrepreneurs in our own right. And we give people the side eye. Like, we think we know what we're doing, and we're like, is this really work? But clearly I didn't know what I was doing, because I'd already launched my mastermind and I was undercharging, and it really didn't solve my problem. So I thankfully had the good sense when I was in New York to be like, even though all of this stuff sounds like unicorns and rainbows and like it's too good to be true, I am going to follow the way of the master and let him do what he does, and we'll see. So it's kind of one of those like, all right, we'll see what you're talking about type things. But yeah, he had everything set up in New York. It was very minimal stuff for me to do, ticking and tying things when I got back to my hometown in Dallas, but it was all set up. We were ready to go. We launched, and y'all, this personally has been my most successful launch to date. And again, your girl thought she knew how to launch, because I've launched lots of stuff, lots of programs, sold thousands of dollars worth of stuff. This was my most successful, profitable, and not even just from a monetary standpoint, engagement. This was the most engaging launch I had ever done. My community went ham on this thing. They were so excited about what was going on. It was just crazy. They were so excited, in fact, that they broke the webinar system. I had over 1,200 people show up at the same time. Many people launch webinars and they can't even get 50% of the people to show up. I had 3,000 registrations and 1,200 people showed up within the first 10 minutes, crashing the webinar system. It was insane. Even with that, though, through to, again, Julian's foresight, because he knew that this was going to be big. He had more faith than I did. We had a backup system going. Everything went really smoothly, and a ton of people signed up for my mastermind. In fact, over 180 people signed up for my mastermind. Mind you, double the price it was previously. And get this, I had members who had canceled previously when I launched Mastermind on my own at the lower price. They were begging to get in at double the new price. Like, I was like, what the heck? Like, I thought you canceled because it was too much, you couldn't afford it, and now they could not wait to get in even at the higher rate. So Julian's just really a master at taking what you do and helping you communicate it to your community in a way that really resonates with them, and they understand the value. Because I think that's the thing. A lot of us, we keep working ourselves to death, working harder and harder and harder, thinking that our offerings aren't good enough, thinking that, we need to come up with something more. Maybe people don't like it. It's not that your community doesn't like what you have to offer or that it's not even good for them. It's just that you're not communicating it in a way that really demonstrates the value that they'll actually get. And so that's what Julian did. And so he took what I already had, what I already launched, recommunicated it to the same audience, and they got it, and they could not wait to sign up. So with that, we had 180 new members. I still had members, existing that, came over. And so now I am the operator of a mastermind that has over 200 women in it, and they're all super happy about the content that they are getting. I feel great because I'm reaching more women. They're inviting their friends, and they're like, oh my goodness, you gotta be a part of what I'm doing. And so it's just really crazy. And for me, I feel like I get to be the creator that I was meant to be. I finally get to be the CEO of my business. I'm no longer, on the hamster wheel trying to keep everybody happy. Now with the growth of my business, literally overnight, talk about a 6-figure launch. That's basically what this is. Now I have the bandwidth to hire support staff, which is my current project that I'm in the midst of, hiring another full-time person. So I'm doubling my team. I'm getting people who are good at what they do so that I could be great at what I do. And I just really feel like I'm a real business owner now. Like, the foundation is set, where I don't have to worry about, where's the next dollar coming from, or how am I going to hustle up some money to get some stuff together. It's all automated. It's all systematized. We have a plan. The people love the content that they're getting. I'm able to hire new people. And it's just really freed me to really dream about other areas that I want to go in my business, other things that I want to do. And I'm just so grateful. I'm just really grateful. Like, this is such service. And this is a side note, especially for women entrepreneurs, because many of you all are scared to sell or scared to talk about what you're doing. But I can say as a client, I am grateful that Julian sold me. And it wasn't even a sell, but it was just him reaching out, seeing that I needed help, and offering his service. Sales is totally service. It was truly servant leadership, because he was in the weeds with me, getting this stuff done. But I'm just really grateful that we were able to partner in this way, and that he was able to give his gift that then in turn allowed me to give my gift, and both parties are now benefiting from all this amazing value and goodwill that's going on, because that's essentially what a mastermind is. I feel like what we did here is like a microcosm of what masterminds can do for you in your community. It becomes this huge value circle where, you get fairly compensated for what you do, and they get better results, and they get what they're looking for. They get the value. So I'm just super geeked and super grateful about it. Again, it's done wonders in my business in terms of what I could do, but even from a personal standpoint, my husband and I, we've always dreamed about moving to LA, and we're like, we don't know, now that's actually a reality. We were just out there looking, going at open houses, and dang, we actually about to make this move. This is crazy. just making upgrades just in my personal life. I love my little Honda, you know, I don't want to give it up, but even my husband, he's like, you think you might want to get a new car now? I'm like, I mean, I can, I have the ability. I don't know. I think I'm still going to keep my car. We'll see. But just to be able to have the flexibility to do that, it's just really awesome. And yeah, it's just phenomenal. So if you're thinking about launching a mastermind, if you're thinking about teaming up with Julian and his team, going through their process, I mean, don't be that entrepreneur that thinks you know everything and that this is not something that you need and that you could figure it out for free, because your girl was that entrepreneur and I wasted 4 months of my life, you know, spinning my wheels, trying to launch a mastermind where I didn't really know what I was doing, and it ended up creating more work for me, which was the very thing that I was trying to escape. So learn from me and just do it the right way the first time. Julian has done this several times. He's done it for himself. He's done it for other clients. He's done it for me. And the impact, I mean, every single client has been pretty much the same. So if you are a purpose-driven entrepreneur, meaning you love your people, you're not just out here just trying to make money, but you really want to serve them, you know that it does not serve them for you to show up every day and be stressed out and frazzled, and then in the back of your mind thinking about, okay, how am I going to pay my bills and where's my next dollar coming from, and oh, I got to get this other client, oh yeah, and by the way, I got to serve you. Like, it doesn't serve your people to show up that way. People can feel that kind of energy. And so if you really love your people and you want to provide them the value that you offer in a way that is not only going to help them actually get the transformation that they're looking for, but is going to allow you the bandwidth to serve them in ways that you hadn't even thought of before, this business model is really something that you need to be looking at. And I don't know anybody else that I would recommend to help you launch this, because Julian's team and execution is just flawless. So do it.